I recently did a video on how I store my ingredients, which you guys really loved. I mean, I got a lot of comments from people saying, you must have read my mind. I was just thinking about this or whatever. So thank you for all the comments on that video. And thank you so much for the likes. It just kind of let me know that you guys really liked that video and that type of content. So here we are again with another form of that content. So if you are continuing to like it, hit the like button. I certainly do appreciate it. It lets me know you guys are still enjoying the content. So with doing the storage, one of the things that might come up is, how do I know what I've got in storage? You know, I bought all these grains and everything, and I've got them in the containers, I got them on the shelf. Do I want to go through there and weigh out every ingredient every time that or try to remember, okay, how am I going to use this much in that last batch or whatever? Well, that's where Brewfather inventory comes in. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the inventory and also show you some of the cool features that are integrated into that inventory system that will help you with your ingredients, tracking and all that sort of thing, as well as how to add ingredients to the database so that anybody in the world can use the ingredients that you're using if you're finding that they're not part of the Brewfather database. So let's get going. All right, we're going to jump right into the Brewfather software. And just real quickly, just in case you wonder how I got the dark setting on there, there's a theme. You go into settings, dark, light. It comes default with the light setting. So if you want to do the dark screen like I've got, just looks better for video in my opinion. Plus I like the way it looks. Just go in there and do that. So let's go into the inventory system and I will show you. I actually went through and inventoried every bit of my ingredients the other day. Everything that I had, I actually weighed it all out and everything because I really want to commit to this system, because just like I was saying in the beginning of the video, running into situations where I don't know if I have the malt or not and have to go in there and try to kind of guesstimate how much I have left. So I went through and measured every single bit of my ingredients, all my grains, all my hops, all that stuff. I measured all of my brewing salts. It's basically got a place for everything. I do need to add some of my yeast to it, but I'll do that off camera and not bore you guys with that. But let me just show you really quickly on here how to do that. So you come into inventory, and then you're going to hit the plus symbol. And then basically, it's broken out into categories: fermentables, miscellaneous, additives, that kind of stuff. So that, you go to the category you want to add to. And let's say in here I want to add a Pilsner malt. So I'm going to go ahead and type Pilsner in here. Oop. And let's say I got some, let's say I got some Brewmaster from Sweden. So I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to put the inventory amount in. Let's say I got 10 pounds. So I'm going to go ahead and put 10. And then if you know the cost per pound, you can kind of determine how much your beers are costing you. So if you don't know that, it's not a huge ordeal. It has the grain, the color, the potential starting gravity. If you know what the date is, it's not a bad idea to put it in there. And if there's any other notes or anything like that you want to put in here, you can certainly do that. So once you've got that in there, then all you need to do is hit save. And it will actually save it into your fermentables, and it just pops right back up to let you add another fermentable in there. Now we can go in here and take a look and see. So we got this Brewmaster Sweden, the fermentables are in there. Now the same thing applies for hops. So let's say if you want to add some hops in there, let's say, I don't know, we'll go ahead and it shows when you open up the addition, it'll actually show you what you have on hand. So, and then if there is a figure over here beside the hop type, that means that you actually have that in inventory. And the plus symbol means that's how much you have in inventory. So let's say, I don't know, let me say here, let's say we got some Amarillo hops. So we can actually go in there and add those hops to the inventory. Let's say we got 16 ounces. One tip I would give you on doing the ounces measurement would be to maybe err on the side of caution and put 15.85 or something like that ounces. So just in case you kind of go over on some of your measurements or your scale is not 100% accurate, that will allow you to not wind up in a situation where you think you had a little bit left, but you didn't. So it's always good to have a little bit more other than what you have. Now, here's where the cool part comes in with the hops. Now, when you get your hops and you put them in the system, so the default value in Brewfather is 9.2. Let's say, it was a really good year and it wound up being 10.3. So you want to make sure you put that in there. And also, I would suggest putting the best before date or the harvest date in there if you have an idea. If it's, like a 2020 crop, probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of about September or something like that whenever they harvest those. So you could put that date in there. All you need to do on that is just simply click on the calendar, and then you can hit the drop down here for various years. So let's say 2020, we'll put September, and we'll put, I don't know, the 15th, the middle of September. So we'll do that as a harvest date. If there's any details or anything like that, you can put it down here, and then you hit save. So here's where the cool part comes in with that. So I'm going to hop out of here. We're going to hop over to recipes, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. So let's say we're just going to create a new recipe. And so we'll go in here. I'm not even going to name the recipe or do any kind of a profile or anything like that. So let's go to Fermentables, and we'll click Add Fermentables. And we're going to go, let's say, Pale 2-Row. So you can see that I have 50 pounds of Bryce Pale 2-Row, and that's notated by that plus 50 over there. So if I select that and then, put my poundage in there, 10 pounds or whatever the case is, and hit save, it's going to add it to the recipe. And then here's where the cool part comes in with the hops. So the hops, let's go in there to that Amarillo that we just put in there. So it shows 16 ounces, but if you notice, it actually pulls over the alpha number that you put in. So no longer, if you're creating a recipe or following, trying to clone a beer or whatever, no longer will you have to go in and adjust the hops by what you have. If you have the inventory system running and you have all your ingredients in your inventory, it's going to automatically put in the amount of alpha acids that you put in when you started the inventory. So that is a really, really cool feature, and I really, really like it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save there. Oh, I've got to enter the amount. Let's go crazy. Let's put 10 ounces in. 339 IBUs. That's probably a little bit beyond what the palate perception is. So we can, you add your yeast and all that stuff, and then the yeast is the same way with your profiles. Let me jump back over to yeast since I just talked about that, and I want to show you something on the yeast as well. So let's go down here to yeast, and let's just act like we're going to add a yeast. So let's do a Kveik yeast. So let's say, let's do a Voss Kveik yeast. Now here's the cool part. So you can either put a package in there, like one package, or you can select different types of measurements. So like milliliters or grams or whatever you want, or billions of cells. But the cool part about it is that you can actually go in here and you can select dry, liquid, culture, or slurry. So basically, you can document whatever you have on hand. Whether you got a slurry or you got liquid or you got dry or whatever, it allows you to do that here. And then when you go to create your recipe, you can select whatever you have on hand, whether it's a slurry or dry packet or whatever, or liquid. And the other thing that's good too is putting the manufacturing date on there. And then most of the yeast manufacturers have a best before date on there. So not a bad idea to throw that in when you get your yeast in-house and know the date on there. It's definitely not a bad idea to do that. So let me cancel out of that, and let's go back into that recipe that I was creating here, and I'll just show you really quick. So once we get all the recipe all created, and we're going to pretend like I've done that, when you go over here to brew, which is the little green mug icon up in the corner, so in the planning stages, you're going to see in here, there's these check boxes right beside your ingredients. So if you check those boxes, basically what's going to happen is it's going to reduce your inventory, and you can see it did it right there on the screen. It's going to reduce your inventory from 50 pounds to 40 pounds. So with this system, I mean, you can create a recipe, and if you use the ingredients that you have on hand, you can see whether or not you can brew that recipe. Or, let's say something takes 10 pounds and you only have 9 pounds. You're going to know right away it's going to turn red on you, and you're going to see that, hey, I need some more of this ingredient. So that's, one of the things you can do with it that is really, really cool and helps you kind of manage your inventory that you might have in buckets and bins and everything else. So that's the really cool part about it. So let's jump back over to the inventory screen, and I want to show you how to add a ingredient. Now, what I want to add here is the blueberry from OO Flavors. So OO Flavors has a blueberry that I use for my blueberry wheat beers, but the only thing in the system is the blueberry. It's like a blueberry extract, the generic. I think it's Brewer's Best or something like that. So I'll go to miscellaneous here. All right, so I'm going to add the blueberry flavoring into the system. So I want to just click add, and then this is a 60 milliliter vial. So I'm going to go ahead and put 60 in here. And if you notice, it's on grams. So let's go down and change the units on that to milliliters. And we're going to put the name on here. We're going to put OO Flavors, blueberry. And it's not going to be used in the boil. We're going to use that in bottling or kegging. And the recommended amount is like 0.125. I think it would be correct, 0.125 or something like that. I would say it's going to be it's 1 milliliter per 5 gallons. So if we divide 1 milliliter up into 5, I don't know, what is that, 1.1? You math experts out there can do it. We'll just put 0.015 for now. On the other, we're going to say flavor is what it is. And down here in the special notes, we can put very strong blueberry aroma and flavor. And then I could put www.ooflavors.com. And then, so I've added that. I'm going to add that to my inventory. So I'm going to put, actually, I'm going to change this to like 40 milliliters because I've already used quite a bit out of that. So we'll do that. All right, so then what we'll do is we want to tell the developer that we want to add this to the database, or have them consider adding it to the database. And one of the things that they have some instructions on a website on how to add malts. So like, let's say you have a boutique maltster or something like that, and you want to add the malt that they have to the database. There is some instructions on how to find the malt information and add all the malt information, because they do need some of the information from the maltster to add that to it. So we're going to go into settings. And now the cool thing about it, because this is a web-based program, we're going to hold Control and hit F, and then we're going to type in Manage, and we're basically going to come down here where it says Submit Data Update Request. So I'm going to click on the Manage button. Let me close this down over here, and we're going to submit a new data request. So basically, it says here you can submit requests to add or update ingredients or profiles in the global database visible for all users. Requests will go through review before being approved. So basically the developers have to approve it before it can just be added to it. So I want to create a new submission. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just say blueberry flavoring request. All right, and then the source is going to be www.ooflavors.com. And then this would be where you would put, like, if it's a boutique maltster or something like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to add an item. Now, when we click on add an item, what it's going to do is basically will allow us to look in our inventory and see what we have. So we've got OO Flavors Blueberry, and I'm going to select that. And basically, I'm just going to leave everything as it is. I'm going to put in here a very strong, strong flavor. And substitutes, you can do, let's say, Brewer's Best. I'll do that in there. Used for flavoring beer in the bottle or keg. So that'll give them some information of what we're talking about. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit select. And then you can see that I have submitted a request to have this OO Flavors Blueberry added to the database. So that lets them know, hey, take a look at this, see what you think, see if you want to, add it to there. And I believe that they'll send you a notice back saying that it was approved or whatever. And then in order to submit it for approval, you just hit submit for approval, and then we'll hit continue. And you'll see that I submitted the items and it's been uploaded. So that is the inventory system and how it works and the basic ways to enter all of your ingredients and everything. I really do like the system. I'm going to try to be more diligent about using it. And I think it will definitely help me know what ingredients I have on hand. And whenever I go to construct recipes, know if I can make that recipe or if I need something, to pick something up from the brew store or whatever, or order something online. What I would suggest you do on ordering, if you order, grain or whatever, I'd probably, if you're on your phone ordering that grain, I'd probably just go ahead and throw it right in the system right then, as long as everything is in there and you know what it is. Now, hops, you might want to wait until you get it and see what the date is on it, if they have if they have a best before date. Same way with yeast. But as far as grains and stuff like that, I would recommend just go ahead and add it right then while you're on your phone. The phone app is awesome. You can do all these same procedures on the phone app. So, leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the inventory system and if you're thinking about using it and what you think it will help you with. So this has been Brian for Short Circuited Brewers. We'll see you on the next video.